This guide introduces the Akana licensing feature. Licensing allows you to create tailored API product packages, as will be explained. Subsequent videos in this series will show you how to execute the steps to make most effective use of this feature. Licensing is a powerful Akana feature that allows you to create tailored packages of an API product for different user groups or specific consumer applications. For example, depending on the selected license, users may only have access to a subset of available API operations. Similarly, a license can determine which API endpoints a given client application will be allowed to access at runtime. And as yet another use case example, a license may limit the number of requests that an API will accept for a client within a specific time period. In other words, by using the Akana licensing feature, a single API product can be offered in different packages. Without this packaging capability, a distinct API product would have to be created for every package, resulting in a lot of extra design work and operational management. Scopes are used to manage the visibility of API operations and documentation in the API portal. They may prevent users from seeing particular operations or documentation. Similarly, scopes can also determine which API operations are accessible for a given client application. Scopes are an important building block for licenses. Their creation and editing require business admin privileges. Licenses are used to create tailored packages of an API product. They are created by a business admin. Licenses exist of one or multiple terms and potentially, one or more legal documents that a user accepting the license should be aware of. A license term will contain the scopes that determine the access that is granted under the term. In addition, a term may contain quality of service policies that determine the level of access, for example the number of requests that is allowed within a given time. By applying scopes to API operations, any license that contains that scope will automatically become part of the API product. This will determine what API resources any given user will now be able to see. Client applications can get selected licenses assigned as part of creating a contract with the API. Again, depending on the license and the scopes contained therein, operations may or may not be accessible to the client. When a scope is configured as private, an operation with that scope assigned will only be visible to a select group of users. These users must be members of a group that has been invited to the API product. Moreover, a license containing that scope in one of its terms must be assigned to the invited group. Like group membership determines the visibility of privately scoped API operations, so does a license selected with an API contract determine whether the client app has access to that operation. A developer requesting a contract with a licensed API product should select the appropriate license. In this guide we introduced you to the Akana licensing feature. Business admin users can define scopes and create licenses of which scopes are a part. Licenses will have an effect on API operation visibility by assigning them to user groups. Similarly, client applications may only be able to access API operations by having a license made part of their API contract. Subsequent videos in this series provide more details on how to create scopes, licenses and groups and how to use these to support your use case at hand.